Working with WeChat. Now this is thoughtful. Hello, I'm Trevor Lai in Shanghai. China's social media industry has been buzzing about WeChat since it launched over 2 years ago. WeChat started as a mobile instant messaging app, but has evolved into a hit social networking app to rival Sina Weibo with 300 million users and counting. While consumers are clearly crazy about WeChat, most marketers in China are still trying to figure it out. This week on Thoughtful China, 3 experts will give advertisers the facts about China's latest social media craze, how consumers use it, how it compares to other social media platforms, what marketers have to gain from using WeChat, and what mistakes they can avoid. And one of our regular guests, CIC's Sam Fleming, will have a thought or two about the Weibo versus WeChat debate. But first, with us is Chris Tung, CEO of IM 2.0, Eugene Chu, Director of Digital Strategy at JWT China, and Spencer Hung, Nielsen's Head of Online Service in China. Chris and Spencer, welcome to Thoughtful China. Eugene, nice to have you back.
Good to be back.
Let's start with you, since you've been a regular guest on our show before. WeChat right now is one of the hottest topics in China. Is this something, though, that you really talk about at JWT when you're thinking of new tools and platforms for your clients?
Absolutely. I think a lot of our clients are very interested in WeChat as one of the hottest rising new platforms. But WeChat, on the other hand, is a little bit ambivalent about working with some brands. I think they're really looking to protect the user experience. So, for example, a feminine hygiene brand might have trouble actually getting something up on WeChat, but a brand like Starbucks, they're quite willing to cooperate together because they can see that this brand brings some value to legitimizing the platform. And I think it really works well for those brands that are trying to basically enhance an existing CRM or one-to-one program, because WeChat has so many great location-based and a very intimate circle of friends that makes the sharing of that content more meaningful. And also we see a much higher attention rate for any brand message that's pushed onto WeChat versus, say, Sina Weibo, where we now think that only 15% of your fans actually might see your message. But in WeChat, the attention level is closer to 100%.
I just want to touch on that last point a little bit, because a lot have been made about Weibo versus WeChat. And as much as we hear from guests on the show talking about both of them being complementary services, I think there is only a limited amount of time that a user can have in front of their screens. And so, my feeling is that there is cannibalization happening here, and where you have Weibo's newsfeed now being filled with hundreds, thousands of messages constantly, and a lot of commercial spam and things like that. Do you believe that this is one of the reasons that their service has slowed down and WeChat has picked up?
I think one of the key focus area that the two are fighting for right now is really the social part, social connection. So Weibo is trying to evolve from a medium to a relationship-based communication tool, whereas WeChat is born as a communication tool, and they have been adding the friend circle function, which is working very well. That's something that people check in to Weixin every day as a key reason to really check out what's going on with my friends, like we did with Facebook or Renren and so on. So I think they're fighting for that high ground as far as social relationship is concerned. Trying to be the Facebook on mobile, which is apparently something very big in China. So,
but is that the right strategy for Weibo? Because in another sense, they started off having an advantage, which was being sort of an alternate media platform and allowing news to be transferred in a social way, but with a large audience. And now it sounds like they're also now trying to get into what is WeChat's inherent strength, since WeChat, as you mentioned, was born as a mobile communication device. So from your standpoint, do you think that this is the right strategy to be kind of stepping into someone else's battleground?
For Weibo to step in to WeChat?
Yeah.
I think from our observation, we think Sina Weibo has started with the right strategy. They use celebrity to attract those big base of users to join in this Weibo platform. And then they view themselves as a media. That's right. in the media, you need someone to speak for you, to help you communicate or spread out your message. That's good. The message or the communication part is just the side effect. It's a side effect for the users. However, for WeChat, the communication purpose is the primary purpose. So, and the two usages are with different purposes. If for me, I want to use Sina Weibo, I want to have the media nature for me to get information. However, for WeChat, when I want to use it, I want to use it to communicate with my close friends. So it's different.
Yeah, I think you've touched on a very important point, which is whenever new services are trying to establish ground, is to have a really strong focus. Yeah. You know, when Google first came out, they really focused on their search, and that was the primary tool. And only after many, many years did they start to expand their services beyond this. It just feels like now already the grounds are starting to get a little bit murky, which could be dangerous. And going back to what Eugene's point was in the beginning, as WeChat starts to explore marketing and branding communications opportunities, there is the risk that it's going to start to turn off some of its users. Do you feel in some of the client trials or some of the client projects that have been done so far that you're already feeling that from users?
I think that WeChat is developing at an extremely fast rate. They just announced they're going to have mobile wallet and mobile commerce features, as well as gaming platform. So it's already expanding beyond a simple messaging app. And I think for clients, we're still trying to help our clients to catch up and understand what WeChat can do for them. But I think one of the key barriers to that at the moment is really that WeChat doesn't provide a lot of support to marketers trying to get on the platform. In fact, they say they have a very long queue of brands that want to work with them, and it's not really about money, it's about what you could bring to their platform that would enhance the user experience.
Well, I mean, you've partly answered the question, but I think it's worthwhile going back and looking for perhaps over the past few years. You've had messaging been around for a long time. You've got everything from BBM through to WhatsApp, and then Line and Kakao, obviously, in terms of Asian competitors. Why has WeChat exploded?
I think the ability to send audio or voice messages was a huge advantage. When it first came out before Moments was launched, everyone was excited about this walkie-talkie aspect to it. I think because typing Chinese characters is even more of a hassle than typing an English message.
Yes.
So the voice message and then being able to open a group chat with your closest friends and just having a conversation no matter where you guys are, that made it instantly a very viral and social application.
And the other point is really a leverage of Tencent's user base, because as a communication tool, the first thing you want to ask yourself when you want to use it is really, can I find my friends easily? If my friends are not using it, it's hard to connect.
Right.
So Tencent is something that people can jump on easily with their QQ number and with their telephone book. So they made it easy to connect. So of course, it's easy to scale up when the friends recommend to friends. So.
Can we get some specific examples of clients and brands that are using WeChat today? And I mean, talk about successes and learnings, but really give us some concrete examples of brands that are already using WeChat.
Mm-hmm. So we helped Starbucks become one of the first brands to use WeChat. I think it was back in autumn of last year. And at that time, we thought WeChat was a very exciting platform because it was in the very steep part of its takeoff, and at the same time it had this ability to deliver audio, which we thought was very interesting for a brand like Starbucks, because when you buy their new drink, which was called Refresher, we thought we can deliver some emotional refreshment to you by giving you a song with your cup of coffee. So we put a QR code on every cup of Refresher. When you buy the thing, you can scan it, and it will say, welcome to Starbucks Weixin account. How are you feeling today? Send us an emoticon. So you send an emoticon. If you send a happy face or a sad face or angry face, you'll get a different song based on your emotion. So that for us was a good little viral PR stunt that kind of enhanced the product experience. So now it's not just a cup of Starbucks drink, it's also coming with this refreshing emotional experience.
So I think we don't have really successful cases because we don't serve brands. We're doing research. However, I think there is a common nature of any platform, either it is social platform or communication platform. That's a common nature is that when I use it, I want to have something valuable that is good for me. So on the WeChat platform, just like Chris and Eugene just mentioned, that they do, those operating brands or accounts, they do offer something valuable to their users or to their friends, right? So that is the core of a platform to succeed.
Let's take a break to hear from Sam Fleming, founder and president of CIC, about the Weibo versus WeChat debate. When we come back, we'll find out which company in China is the best at using social media. Is it your brand? Find out soon. WeChat is the first Facebook of China to achieve such a massive scale at over 300 million users, hitting that mark 4 months faster than Sina Weibo did. Tencent has given Chinese netizens, especially white-collar netizens, a Facebook-type strong-linked social network that not only allows you to keep tabs of your real friends, but which also brilliantly gets them addicted to a WhatsApp walkie-talkie function. It also has a look-around function, which acts more like a hookup function, Instagram imaging, and a group chat function, which is a natural extension to QQ groups and BBS forums, which have long been the backbone of the mainstream Chinese social web. It's mobile, it's social, it's private, and it's fun. And it's not an either-or for Sina Weibo versus WeChat. Weibo is still the water cooler of China, the zeitgeist, where netizens and observers of China can take the real-time pulse of popular culture and sentiment, and where you can show off to the world. WeChat is the private social network where you hang out with real friends who are found in your mobile phone address book and share personal moments with them. While WeChat is more social and Sina Weibo is more media, they are both social media, and in the end, netizens will use both for different reasons, although the jury is still out about which one they will use more than the other. While it is unclear how or when Tencent will monetize WeChat, if anyone can make it happen, the company who has been successfully monetizing social media in China for over a decade can make it happen. Something to keep in mind is that while it is easy to pigeonhole WeChat as the next big social media app, it is in fact much more than just social. WeChat is changing the way millions of consumers use voice, text, email, and how they find information. It can very easily link to Tencent's massive internet properties like Weibo, Qzone, Pengyou, and QQ. As a mobile app, its ability to provide online to offline functionality is not being lost on retailers, which can now enable them to join a loyalty club with simple scan of a QR code and eventually allow payment right from Tencent's payment system. Are the credit card companies paying attention? WeChat is certainly the new social media powerhouse on the block, but what's really exciting is WeChat's potential to change not only how consumers communicate and socialize, but ultimately how they can do business with companies. Welcome to social business, China style. Thanks, Sam. We're back in the studio with Chris Tung, Eugene Chu, and Spencer Hung. You just heard Sam's take on the WeChat versus Weibo debate. So let's get each of your opinions on this. What do you think is WeChat's key difference and key advantage over some of the other social marketing platforms such as Weibo?
I think Sina Weibo is still China's town square. That's where you go if you want to broadcast a message to the world. And that's where you find a lot of the salacious political gossip and what's important and happening in society. But where WeChat is different, it's really very intimate. Because it's related to the people who are in your contact list on your phone, I think that is its key point of difference, and also its key attraction for a lot of users is now you have a place to share those things that you don't want to share with the world, like the fact that you're out in a bar drinking on a school night. So I think it's quite a different application. It's kind of, if we look at the West, it's kind of like the difference between Facebook and say something like Path, which is far more permission-based, and people can only follow you if you allow them to follow you, if you agree that they're a close enough friend.
Well, as far as client is concerned, I think Weibo has been proven to be the effective battlefield for word-of-mouth marketing. There's millions of accounts with millions of fans that wait to be monetized. Actually, a fixed price for each account to issue a Weibo. The market is pretty mature already for clients to leverage. Whereas WeChat is still something secret from Tencent that people are watching, and it has a lot of potential. In my opinion, WeChat could be easily the Facebook in mobile era in China and Chinese community. But from client standpoint, it's still something that's hard to tap in right now But Weibo is relatively very mature, very easy to work with.
We promised our viewers that we would ask each one of you to identify the company in China that's doing the best job of using social marketing tools. So let's start with Eugene. What's a good example?
Well, I'd be doing myself a disservice if I didn't say Starbucks. But I also think Tencent is doing a fantastic job at marketing WeChat and getting a lot of value out of it.
I would suggest Dell Computer, who, as we know, is an expert on its own on online marketing. They have been doing a great job in terms of building their fan base on social networks, including Renren, Weibo, everything. And they have been actively leveraging those fan base to spread the product news and turn that into purchase for the brand. So I think it's a case on its own.
Well, I think there are many good cases that we can learn from fast consumer product goods industry. I would like to point out that Intel is doing a good job from the IT sector. We've observed that Intel has done some social marketing initiatives that is not related or that is not similar with those FMCG accounts. I think that helped them to better communicate their IT concepts to the IT users.
Now, Tencent has been very aggressive in promoting WeChat overseas, which is also something new that we're seeing from a social marketing tool based in China, with the recent news that they're even buying TV ad spots in Indonesia, for example, and that seems to be having an effect on the market as they go head-to-head with some of the other competitors that we mentioned before. Do you think that WeChat has the chance to become truly a global communications platform?
I think they do. Just like we just previously mentioned that communication is a basic needs for users. Either is online users or offline users, it's the basic needs. So that is just like Eugene just mentioned, it's basically developed as a walkie-talkie on a mobile platform. If it is a walkie-talkie, then everyone has to say something unless you have some disability, right? Otherwise, you gotta say something. You gotta talk to your friends, you gotta talk to someone. So when you have that basic needs, then WeChat has the opportunity to extend their services to global.
I think within the Chinese diaspora, WeChat already is a global phenomenon. And I don't think it's really rivaling with, say, WhatsApp or even Line or KakaoTalk. I think it's more comparable to what Facebook on mobile is trying to do. In fact, we've even seen Facebook Messenger on mobile learning from WeChat and adding new features in the last few weeks. So there's quite an interesting arms race going on right now. But I think one thing that plays against WeChat is the fact that Tencent is domiciled in China. And obviously, I think people have some concerns about the privacy and security of data.
Which has been mentioned before, as one of the potential drawbacks or hesitations that customers have, especially overseas. So building on that, as they continue to grow and the service becomes more popular, we do talk on the show about how brands and advertisers make mistakes sometimes. And as you've all touched upon, this is a sensitive period, and I think Tencent has been very careful in sort of how it approaches the marketing and use of its tool further for sales and marketing purposes. So what are some other pitfalls that they should really avoid stepping into if they want to continue the growth, especially overseas?
I would say they can do so much. So I think the hottest debate within Tencent every day must be how far should they go from a product design standpoint, how many functions they should cover. It's at the end of the day, it's still a small screen, right? So they don't want to mess around with the user experience. There's a balance to strike. So I think where to focus, what is really the big idea that's sustainable for the business is really something they need to watch out.
Yeah. I think probably the basic thing for Tencent to watch out is cultural difference. So WeChat has been developing as a China population or China internet users kind of preferred tool. However, we cannot be sure that these China way will be or can be adopted in the Western world. Just like how Facebook or Twitter or Google or those Western brands they want to translate or transplant their way of working things into China may not be successful. So I think that's the culture thing that they need to probably watch out.
I think WeChat is really good for brands or businesses that want to talk to their existing customers. It's maybe not so good at trying to attract non-users or new customers. But in terms of delivering services to your existing customers, it's an extremely powerful one-to-one communication tool. And now that it can be linked to your CRM system, and you can actually allow your current customers to view their loyalty points or even transact over the platform, I think it's on the verge of becoming a very good off-the-shelf CRM solution for many businesses. The only question is how will Tencent manage the data of their user base and allow you to cross-match that against your CRM database.
As users and also experts in this area, tell me what's one feature or function you'd like to see WeChat add?
Oh, that's difficult. They've got talk, they've got text right now. I know they don't want to have a social graph type of function because of some certain reasons. However, for myself, I like to group my friends into different levels or different groups. So maybe for me, just for myself, if they do develop this kind of function, which would be easy for them, that could be useful for me.
I'm quite optimistic about WeChat's potential to grow to become the major O2O, offline to online, online to offline, vice versa type of solution in China. So to do that, I think the e-payment, e-wallet versus the passbook kind of a VIP card service integration will be very powerful when it links to the CRM we just Eugene just talked about. So it could be a very transaction, sales-driven solution for the brands, which could be huge.
I think as a mobile app that just brings you more convenience in modern life, so maybe it has all your loyalty programs in one place, but also has all your friends in one place. And if in the future it can make the management of your photo collections more easy as well, it could be a very nice little lifestyle hub.
Just particularly the ones that you've sent through the service, way to group and organize those, because you've obviously already curated those for sharing through the platform.
Exactly.
So that makes sense. Great. Eugene, Chris, Spencer, thanks for being on Thoughtful China.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
That wraps it up for today. Be sure to subscribe to us on Tudo and YouTube. You can also follow us on Weibo and Twitter and join our LinkedIn group. See you again.